All right, TJ Zindle, thank you so much for being back again. One of the few people who's put up with me 3 times. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Robbie. I'm glad to
This,
be back.
this is going to be
All
a
new
lot of
things
fun.
to talk about. All new things. I will not say anything I said in the previous podcast.
I'm going to go back and listen to the other two now and be like, oh,
We're only going to talk about politics this time. No music, nothing fun.
yes, 100%. So left or right? No.
Both.
So both. Yeah, of course.
Okay. Sorry.
So I want to just jump right into what you have going on now. And my question to you is always the same because I'm always eager to hear what you're doing. So, new music. Are we hearing some new music from you? What's going on?
Yeah, actually, I'm working on. I'm working on an acoustic EP. It's kind of the next thing I'm gonna do. Probably drop 5 to 7 songs in the next. Hey Ben, my roommate just came home. Hey Ben, I'm doing a podcast. Do you want to be on the podcast with me?
Yeah, sure. Oh,
You know Robby Vegas. This is my roommate Ben.
nice
Yeah.
to meet you,
Oh, yeah.
man.
What's up, Ben?
Your podcast?
Yeah.
Yes,
Where you interview musicians?
And Boston.
I interview everybody.
Everybody. Nice. Love it.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. All right, man. Have a good interview.
Yeah, man. I'll see you in a bit.
Is this going to be edited or I stay in?
Oh no, you're in.
You're in.
Oh, cool.
I don't know.
Oh, hey, multitude of people.
Uh,
I have no idea who that guy is. I've never seen him. Yeah, new music. I'm working on an acoustic EP. Is the next thing I'm gonna do. I got a bunch of songs that I sort of wrote in the last couple months in Michigan, and that's kind of the next thing I'm gonna do is kind of put out some sort of more direct, just kind of live acoustic stuff. I got a lot of emotional shit I'm working through, and that's the next one. Yeah.
and that's the best way to write music, always from that deep seated emotion, which is why I always connected with your lyrics over the years and with your music. So I'm sorry for what you're going through, but I love hearing what comes out after.
That's all. That's the best part about going through any tough stuff is you're like, oh, cool. Maybe there'll be some songs coming soon.
Yeah,
And experience there almost always is. So that's good. Yeah.
absolutely. So now, you mentioned that you were working on these in Michigan. Right now, you're back in New York, you're back in Buffalo. And are we expecting like some new shows coming up? And are you putting a band together? Is it just TJ Zindle? What are we doing?
All those things. Yep. I got a band called TJ Zindle and the Sure Things, which is Tom McCluskey from Last Conservative, Mike Zeiss from Last Conservative, Josh Mullen from Last Conservative, and also Kevin Sampson, who plays in Kevin Sampson and the Night Shifts and a bunch of bands. He's an awesome musician and great all around guy. He's also one of the owners and managers of Jackrabbit. Which, I love that place. Yeah, I got a bunch of shows coming up. September. Well, tonight I'm playing in Nietzsche's. This is probably too late for that, but September 12th I'm playing the Birchfield Penny art thing down at the Albright Knox. I'm doing that. September 20th, we're the Sure Things. We're headlining. Well, I shouldn't say headlining. We're playing last at Music is Art this year, which is going to be awesome. October 17th. TJ Zindle and the Sure Things are playing at Jackrabbit. We're still working on who else might be on that bill. But yeah, I mean, I moved back to Buffalo officially last week, and I'm here for good. And I'm so happy to be back. It was a long time coming. I should have been back here like 7 or 8 years ago. So better late than never. But yeah, so I got a lot of shows coming up. I'm going to be doing some solo stuff. I'll be doing some gigs at, kind of bars and restaurants, just kind of hanging back and doing covers and stuff. Just a little bit of everything. Like every musician, you got to do 30 things. I'll be running sound here and there, some other stuff, booking some shows, trying to fill the time and pay the bills.
Now, I gotta ask this question because you moved back home and you got new songs coming out that you're working through. Now, you have a lot of history here in Buffalo. So does that sway you into like a certain style of writing, or does it bring back certain things that help you in your writing when you're coming up with new songs?
Yeah, for sure. My favorite part of Buffalo is how scrappy all the musicians and like the town is. It's a very scrappy town. So I feel like a lot of the songs that come out of Buffalo have a certain energy that I don't really find anywhere else, you know. And Michigan is a beautiful place. It never felt like home. And my music never fit there. Like I never really could draw enough of a crowd. And but yeah, so reconnecting to that kind of scrappy Buffalo like kind of energy is huge for my songwriting. So yeah, that's like one of my favorite things about Buffalo.
So what would you say, aside from personal things that you're going through, what kind of music is inspiring you these days? What's really getting to you that's bringing things out?
You know who I got into not too long ago is a guy named Jeff Rosenstock. And he's been around for a while. He's sort of in a punk rock world. He has some ska punk bands and stuff. But I just kind of discovered his music about a year ago. And it's one of the best songwriters I've ever heard. And he also has a little bit of that kind of scrappy thing, although I'm not sure where he's from. But yeah, you know, a lot of Mountain Goats. I love the Mountain Goats still. Yeah, I guess that's kind of what I've been listening to as far as new music. I'm always on the hunt for new stuff, and I haven't found something new in a minute. But I'm looking around. So if anyone wants to email me some songs or some ideas, let me know.
All right, I'm gonna send you some Robby Vegas tunes.
Yeah. I love you.
Well, I wanted to bring this up really quick too, is because my Whispers in the Dark EP was, obviously you were the huge influence and mastermind in helping me get that out, and I wanted to thank you for that because I still really love those songs, and you really helped them come together. So, are you doing that for other people too?
Not enough. I've done that a couple times, you know, kind of some production. But that record especially turned out great. I felt like we both were on this kind of same page pretty immediately. Yeah, but I'm hoping to do more of that. You know, I got a busy street corner I live on, so there's occasional sirens and shit going by.
I was actually, I think when we first started recording, I thought I heard church bells, and I was like, well, that couldn't have gone any better.
Probably.
So yeah, just staying on that topic though. So yeah, like I said, I love that EP so much, and that's why it kind of like made me wonder, why don't I see your name attached to more things? Because you were so like helpful, and I learned a lot from you. You know, just working with you in that capacity, and I know that other musicians could learn a lot from you as well. So
Thanks. And I did a lot of that in Buffalo. There were some bands that I worked with, but when I got out of Michigan, again, there's something about the way that I work that didn't really work there for whatever reason, you know, like, and there are people that I talked to about producing and working with, and then they'd go with somebody else, and it's like, all right, that's fine. But yeah, so I'm hoping to do a lot more of that in Buffalo. And one thing I want to do, because every songwriter has the same problem, where we've all got like 800 scraps of songs. And then you're like, oh, I want to write a new song. And you don't have the energy to go through the old stuff to figure out what are the 4 good ideas out of the 900. So something I'm working on doing is a service where like I help people go through their scraps and find like, all right, here's the 10 good ones. And not production, not like make them better, but just help clear up the decks and help people get other opinions. Because for me, that's crucial. You know, being able to send songs to friends of mine and go, is this one good? You know, because if it's not immediately yes, then it's like, oh, it sucks. It's done. It's gone.
Yeah. Well,
you know how it goes. You got to write 10 to get 2 if you're lucky, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to ask this too, is because you are so knowledgeable. Is when you were signed on with Good Caramel with Robbie Takak from the Goo Goo Dolls back in the day, I would assume that you learned a lot of things from him. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I did. And with Robbie, a lot of what we learned was kind of how to use the energy of the song. So like he was really great at just kind of flowing with, if this is a kind of a rock song, let's lean into that. If this is a more ballady song, lean into that. The person who I probably learned the most from production wise is a guy named Armand Petrie, who he did the first couple Goo records. He did Sixpence None the Richer, a bunch of other stuff. But he was the first guy that pretty much told me, all right, cut everything in half. Generally, You don't need to do it 8 times. 4 is probably fine. 2 is even better. You know, like there and a lot of just the editing of like, all right, how many times do you need to say that one line? It's like, yeah. So I learned a lot from him, especially in editing. And with Robby, I learned a lot about how to harness the energy and kind of use it to its best effect. You know, yeah.
Who would you say that you learned, like arrangements from? Because I know for one of the songs we did on Whispers in the Dark, I gave you the song and you were like, this is a good song, but it's in the wrong order. And we like kind of rearranged it. And like, I would have never heard that until you
Sure.
pointed it out. So where did that come from?
You know, I think just from the musicians the taste I have. Like no one specifically taught me that, except there have been times where my friends, like Mike Zeiss, for example, who played bass and now he plays guitar in the Sure Things, is a great songwriter. His band's working on an EP, literally right now downstairs. They're tracking, and he would do that with me a lot. He'd be like, "Actually, this is your chorus. This is not the bridge," you know. So some of that, and just liking a lot of variety music, a lot of Elvis Costello, a lot of Radiohead, a lot of, Matthew Good Band, where the arrangements are, I don't know. I guess it's more about the energy of the song. But yeah, that just kind of happens.
So when do you think that we're gonna get a new release from you? Is there anything on the horizon where you can kind of give us a little, like in a month, 2 months?
Yeah, I'm hoping to put something out this fall.
Okay.
I'm hoping to start tracking in the next week or two, and my plan is to keep it pretty bare bones. Just kind of track stuff live, just try to get the right take and the right thing. And a lot of the songs are very delicate, so the more I try, the worse it'll be.
Yeah.
And there's always something magical about that, like first take energy. So
yeah.
And to get as much of that as possible,
Do you also suffer from demoitis?
Oh yeah. The demo is always the best, and that's why I got a song You Have It Coming off of Hold On With All Your Might, I think is the record. Or no, it's on Hold On With All Your Might, and that's just the live version. That was just the original demo. I overdubbed a couple things, but it was just one take, the acoustic and vocals. And same with the song Last Man on the Titanic. Like that's just one take. And then I overdubbed a harmony and that was it. I knew there's no way I'd be able to improve on that.
Wow.
You can never get that demo energy back, which is always a bummer. And every musician chases that. And you're like, how come it doesn't sound right? And it's like, because you were thinking less, or you were thinking differently, or you weren't thinking this is a real take. You're just going for it.
Yeah.
No, the more you can trick yourself, the better you do.
Well, that kind of brings me to my next question. When you're writing now, as compared to when you were writing when you first got started, maybe you feel this way, maybe you don't, but I always thought there was like a magic to a new songwriter. Like it was like you had the whole world in front of you and you could write about anything at any time, anywhere. And then as you become a more seasoned musician, that almost disappears because you almost start to know too much. Yeah. And then you start to overthink. Do you run into that still?
Of course. And then you can do certain things early on that then by the third record, you're kind of rehashing your first and second record in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. So it's very hard for musicians to keep growing. I can't imagine how like a David Bowie, their mind must work where every fucking record's a whole different universe.
Yeah.
But then there's also something you said about AC/DC where they got it right the first time and they pretty much are, kind of. So, I mean, I don't know. It all depends, but it's hard to keep writing fresh stuff. And I find the stuff that feels the freshest now is the simplest, the stuff that comes in 5 minutes. The more I think about it, the more I toil, generally the worse the song gets,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Now, when you're writing as well, and you're listening to, say, a song by whatever, one of your favorite bands, and it inspires you, can you immediately click on something in your brain and write something based off of that, but it's different from them, but it just brought it out of you in that moment?
Sure. I can, but I don't tend to work like that. Mm-hmm. And I know there's a lot of songs, a lot of people will be like, oh, I was trying to copy this. Like they're consciously trying to do that.
Mhm.
I tend to try not to do that, even though there's times where like I've got a bunch of notes of songs I should try to steal. Like I steal the bridge from this song, and then I never end up doing it. But I got this list of songs that I plan to pillage. But yeah, it's tough to. I don't know. I've even though like all the greats do that, like Keith Richards, amateurs borrow, professionals steal, like,
Mhm.
or maybe that was fucking, who was the artist that said that? Salvador Dali? I don't know, whoever the fuck said it. Picasso, everyone said it. But yeah, I try not to, if I can make, but I wrote a song where subconsciously I stole like 2/3 of a Gin Blossoms melody and it still feels right. So it's like, yeah, that's fine. I don't care. Like I know that people will be like, that sounds like that song. I'll be like, yeah, it does. That's a great song.
Yeah.
You don't do it on purpose. It feels okay, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I actually, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Whenever people, say, "Oh, I hear, Motley Crue in one of your songs," I'm like, "Great, I love Motley Crue."
Yeah.
So, for this next part of the interview, is something that we haven't done with you before. We're gonna do it now. So this is where our listeners just get to know random facts about you for no fucking reason.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, so here's our lightning round, and the first question is going to be: do you prefer Chicago or New York style pizza?
New York.
Do you prefer dinner or dessert?
Dinner.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla.
Poison or Motley Crue?
Motley Crue, that's about a coin flip, but probably Motley Crue.
All right.
Yeah.
If you were stranded on a desert island, you could take 5 records with you. What 5 are you taking?
Okay, I'm taking Radiohead The Bends. I'm taking Radiohead OK Computer. I'm taking Counting Crows, probably August and Everything After. I'm taking Matthew Good Band, Beautiful Midnight. And I might take Smashing Pumpkins' Siamese Dream. That's a pretty great record too. There's a great band called Those Bastard Souls. They made a record called Debt and Departure in like 99, 2000. I might take that in the also mentions, but that's probably the 5 that jumped to my mind the most. But if I had to take one, it'd be Radiohead The Bends. That's my favorite record of all time.
I was trying to think if I knew you enough to guess what your 5 records would be, and the only one I got right was Counting Crows.
Nice.
All right, how about this? Ozzy or Alice Cooper?
I like Ozzy's music more, but I think Alice Cooper I'd be able to have hang out with easier. He seems like a more affable guy.
Now,
rest in peace, Ozzy. But yeah. I think I'd prefer Motley Crue, but I'd rather hang out with the guys from Poison.
I can see that.
A lot more chill.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to hang out with Tommy Lee or fucking Mick Mars seems miserable and whatever.
God knows what you might see.
Yeah.
Now, are you a horror movie fan?
Yes. Yeah.
So would you take the original Friday the 13th or the original Halloween?
Probably Friday the 13th.
All right. Now, what if I threw in Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Child's Play? Texas
Chainsaw Massacre.
Now, here's one that we ask absolutely everybody, and I get such different answers. I love it. You're superstitious. You're going through the Bermuda Triangle. Are you on a plane or are you on a boat, and why?
I'm on a plane because the crash will be more spectacular, and that part will be kind of exciting. On a boat, like, I don't know if you just get sucked into the sea but the plane thing makes sense because you're flying over and like some weird vortex like spins you around. I feel like those 8 seconds would be kind of fun, so I'd take the plane.
First person that ever said that it would be fun.
Well, you're dying either way, I assume, right?
Yeah, right.
I have a good Bermuda Triangle story in ages. Like, when was the last, is that, I hope it's still doing okay. I think absorbing sailors or whatever the fuck, I don't know, whatever it does.
Right now, the most I'm hearing about it is I watched the show on Hulu about everything that happened there and these divers that go and try and find all the missing, planes and boats and all that stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. So what would you consider your favorite movie of all time?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go with American Movie. It's a documentary that came out in like '99. It follows this filmmaker, this guy named Mark Borchardt. Him and his good friend Mike. I might be getting one of the names wrong. No, Mike Shank and Mark Borchardt. And it's this great documentary following him around as he's trying to make this horror movie. And it's got so much heart in it. And like I quote the movie like multiple times a day. And it's kind of a cult classic where not a lot of people know it, but it brings so much to my life. I'd also have to put Spinal Tap up there. That's a pretty tough one to not, but yeah, I'd say the American Movie if I had to pick one.
All right. What about favorite TV show of all time?
Good question. Maybe The Wire. The Wire's pretty amazing. I might say The Simpsons because pound for pound, I feel like I've learned the most from The Simpsons. And again, same type of thing where I think of The Simpsons 20 times a day in some sort of joke, So yeah, probably between those two.
All right. And last lightning round question is favorite cartoon of all time, and I think you just answered that.
Yes, I think so. Well, then I'd probably say South Park, I guess.
Okay.
I had to go, I feel like The Simpsons I've learned more from, but South Park has made me laugh longer, even though The Simpsons are still pretty great and pretty amusing, but South Park, I feel like they're still as good as they always were after 20 years. But The Simpsons, obviously it's the last 15 have been not as good as the previous 20. What the fuck, right? But
yeah.
those middle years, like those Conan O'Brien years, like season 6 through 10, are bonkers.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And I still weep. I can describe at least a dozen moments in The Simpsons, and anytime I describe it to, we could be on a trampoline, and I will still cry, explaining the time when Marge tells Lisa it's okay to be sad. In season 1, because she tells Lisa to try to fake it, and then Lisa tries to fake it, and Marge's like, "No, get back here. You want to be sad? You be sad, and we'll be here for you." Oh my God, I'm very emotional man. But yeah, so.
That's a great episode though, and I always remember that one.
Right?
Yeah, I remember that one vividly.
And it's great because she was sad for like just kind of no general reason, which we all get, and it wasn't like this happened, but she was in a mood. And Marge told her to go like, "Oh, go smile and people will like you." And then she goes and smiles and everyone starts liking her. And Marge just can't bear to see her being phony like that. And then, yeah, it's beautiful. I learned so many life lessons from The Simpsons.
Because you have a songwriter's mind.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So let's bring that back to your songwriter's mind and your career, because I have a couple more music questions for you. And my first one is going to be, what's still on your music bucket list?
I'd love to play Red Rocks. Still never played Red Rocks. I've been to a bunch of shows there. Never played in Europe ever. Still would love to go over there. The Ragbirds went to Japan for like 10 or 12 days. That was a lot of fun. And I've been through every state in the U.S. and a bunch of spots in Canada, but never overseas. I feel like that would be pretty amazing to get to Europe, because I feel like they appreciate music in a whole different way than Americans do. Like America, when you say I'm a musician, people are like, "Oh, how's that going?"
Yeah.
In Europe, it's like, "Oh wow, you bring cultural happiness and you make us happy and or sad, or you make us think or feel or whatever." So I feel like it's appreciated more over there.
You get the in America, it's the, "Oh, you're still doing that."
Yeah. What are you doing? It's like, well, yeah.
Yeah. What about, so you've had a long career up to this point, so I'm really curious to know what some of your favorite shows have been to date, like whether it be like opening for somebody or just a performance that you thought was like your best, or what comes to mind?
Last Conservative, we did these 2 shows with the All-American Rejects. And one was at in Sayersville, New Jersey. I can't think of the name of the venue, but it was this awesome venue. There's maybe like, I don't know, 1,200 people. It was pretty packed. And we just had a great show. And it felt like immediately the crowd was in, when we opened for Bon Jovi in 2007, that was also pretty amazing. Or was it 06? I don't know. I lose track. I remember with the CD release show for On to the Next One, played at the Continental.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a pretty great show. Some footage from that ended up on, there's an MTV show called Advanced Warning. You could find it on YouTube still. And there's like an 8-minute, they had like 3 bands they would feature in the show. It was us, Block Party was one of the other bands, and a band called Mondo Dial. So there's some footage from that show, but I remember that being a really powerful show. My very first show I ever played at Nietzsche's in 1996, I was 16. We opened for a band named Crunchy Frog and a band named Pineapple Johnson, who both drew super well. So it was like packed. It was the most I've ever seen Nietzsche's packed, I think. And that was my first real show. And I remember thinking, oh boy, this is what it's going to be like every time. And, it hasn't been. But I'd say those are the ones that come to mind.
It's funny because, when I was a teenager and I was coming to see Last Conservative constantly, I never would have thought that, 20 years into my life, I would, work with you on Whispers in the Dark and work with David on all my singles and my upcoming EP. And it's like the 6 degrees of separation with Last Conservative for me now.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear more of that stuff. Dave sent me, like, I've heard some of the roughs, but like not with vocals, I don't think. I think just sort of like some of the guitar tracks, some tracks and stuff. It sounds pretty ripping, man. I'm excited because Dave is awesome. Dave is such a great musician. He's such a hard worker.
Yes.
He's probably one of the hardest working musicians I've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes full on with everything he does. Like when he started working on production, like he was deep in it and like learned that, was reading books and getting tutorials and watching videos and like just really learning every bit of it in a way that, like, it's pretty inspiring, and now he's working with, Ace Frehley, Kiss, and he's working with guys from Enough's Enough or whatever, like all sorts of bands. And there's this label out in, I think, Italy, I want to say that he's been working with. But yeah, so.
Yeah, it's crazy to see because, I tell everybody, and I think I said it to David when he was on the show, is, I always found you to be such a genius with your writing and your lyrics. And same thing I find with him, with his, guitar parts and the way that he writes is he's so hardworking, he's so talented, and he's a genius when it comes to arrangements for that kind of stuff. And it's amazing. And here you guys are both from Last Conservative, and it's just a wonderful thing to see you guys out there kicking ass.
Yeah, I love Dave.
So before we wrap this up, there's a couple things I want to touch on. Again, we talked about upcoming shows, so I do want you to plug those again. But sure. I also want you to plug your social media so that when things get added and new songs drop, that the people who don't already follow you that are seeing this. And by the way, this is your first time on the show where we're doing video.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's right. So if you could tell everybody where to follow you.
Yeah. You can find me on Instagram, on Facebook. If you just look for TJ Zindle, it's all under my name. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you'd find music, YouTube. All the Last Conservative records are also up on Spotify and Apple Music. My solo records, I had one called Hold On With All Your Might in 2017. I put out Now Let Go in 2022. I also made a great record with a couple friends of mine called Starts With a Con, which we just did this one-off record during the pandemic, and that was a lot of fun. I'm pretty proud of how that record turned out as well.
Great record.
Thanks. And I've been making records on my iPad. On Now Let Go, like half the vocals I did, I literally sang into the iPad microphone. I didn't even have like an actual mic, and I figured out a way to make that work, and I feel like that record turned out really good.
I can't believe Hold On With All Your Might is from 2017.
Yeah, right? An old fuck. Let's see. My shows. So September 12th, I'm at the Birchfield Penny Arts Center in Buffalo. Let's see. Music is Art is September 20th. TJ Zindle Sure Things. We're playing at like 10:15 that night. And I'm also doing a solo set, I believe at 4:30 in the VIP tent. The Then I've got September 27th. I'm playing Hurdle Fest. I'm sorry, Fall Fest on Hurdle. They're closing off the street for a bunch of the shop owners on Hurdle. And then October 17th is going to be the next big show that we do with the Sure Things. We're going to be headlining over at Jackrabbit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm super excited about that. Still figuring out the lineup, but that's going to be a good show. Yeah, those are the next couple things I'm working on. Like I said, I'll have an EP coming before too long, and then I'll with the Sure Things, we'll probably get into the studio. I'm thinking early next year, and maybe to try to put something out in the spring, hopefully sooner. But yeah,
That's awesome, man. And again, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, that's pretty much it. Yeah,
I'm
Bandcamp, anywhere you could find people, you could,
I am so pumped that we got to do this again. And as always, a lot of fun. And, I really urge everybody who doesn't already follow you to please do, because there's going to be some amazing stuff happening. And I'll say it again, you're a genius songwriter. So,
well, thanks very much, Robby. I appreciate that.